Hello, and thank you for watching Charge Automation demo. In the next 10 minutes, I will give you a brief summary of how Charge Automation works, how to set it up, as well as walk you through some of our key features. When you receive a new booking, Charge Automation creates a single and streamlined flow to collect reservation payments, such as the initial deposit or the balance. You can collect city tax or tourist tax, and you can authorize damage deposit. At the same flow, you can also collect information from the guests, such as guest ID, credit card scans, email and phone number, a selfie profile picture, acceptance of terms and conditions, digitally sign the contract, as well as create your own custom questions that you would like to collect from the guest. On the same flow, you can also offer upsells to the guests, so the guests can purchase any upsells that you've made available for them. This could be customized to your own availabilities. After the upsell, the guests can also be redirected to the guidebook or the guest portal. So this is the workflow that happens when a new booking is created. Now let me show you how it looks to the guest. After the new booking has been created, a link is generated for the booking and it could be sent to the guest automatically. When the guest clicks on the link, they open up a page that looks like this. We have an example here, Lisa James, that's staying at Hotel Paris. And this is a web page, not an app, so there's no apps to download for the guest. So now Lisa can review her booking summary and she can continue and click Start Pre-check-in. Now Lisa can see that the first payment has already been paid and the balance is due on a future date, which is July 20 in this case. And there's also security deposit authorization scheduled for July 24. So Lisa has a clear expectation of what payments are due when. Now, if Lisa wants to update her credit card information, she can update the card information. And once that's done, so she can continue, save and continue. Now, this is, in this case, the property has selected to collect email address, phone number, and number of guests or guest count from Lisa. This is completely optional. You can turn on and off what information you'd like to collect from the guest. Next, there's arrival information. Again, if you're arriving by plane or what time you're arriving. If you are a property that likes to coordinate arrival time, then this you may want to turn this on. And you can also create optional questions, such as, do you have COVID symptoms? What's your favorite breakfast? Or any other information that is relevant to your property. And once Lisa clicks save and continue, now Lisa has been asked to upload her photo ID. Again, this is optional. If you want to, optional for you as a host, as a property, you can turn on and off if you'd like to collect the photo ID. And you can also customize this by booking source. Now, after uploading and continue, Lisa will also be asked to take a selfie profile and satisfy with a selfie, submit and continue. And on the last page, Lisa has been offered some upsell options, optional, so Lisa can purchase airport pickup service, early check-in, parking, and these are optional ones. As you can see, the first one is not optional, it's a mandatory tourist tax. In that case, Lisa does not have an option to deselect it because it's a mandatory. This is also customizable for you by booking source, so you can choose when to collect it and when to not collect it from the guest. Now, the last page is the booking summary. Lisa can review all the information that she's provided and digitally sign the agreement, accept your property's terms and conditions, and complete pre-check-in. Now, at this point, if you've enabled also guest portal, the guests will be redirected to the guest portal where they can see all the property information, how to enter, how to check out, and any relevant information that you may have included in the guest portal. Now let's go to how this all set up in the backend. So in the backend, the first step is to connect your payment gateway. Depending which payment gateway you work with. In this case, if it's Stripe, you can connect to Stripe account. and you can optionally select chargeback protection. So this ensures that any payment that you collect is protected from fraudulent disputes. Now, if you have several Stripe accounts and you would like to connect each property to different accounts, there's an option to do that, which I can speak about afterwards. Now, after you connect to your property, to your payment gateway, again, this is optional, it's not mandatory, but if you're collecting payment or upsells or city tax, it is mandatory that you connect to your own payment gateway. The second step is to connect to your PMS. So we have over 50 property management software we integrate with. You can simply select the property management that you're working with and save and continue. Next step is for you to create payment rules. Now, the payment rules is to collect, whether you want to collect initial deposit or the balance or security deposit. This is where all of that happens. Again, this is optional, and you only turn on only if you want to collect payment for specific booking sources. In this case, let's look at booking.com. I can expand it. And here I have an option for booking.com to collect, in this case, 25% of the booking amount immediately after booking. You can change this to be before check-in. You can customize how much you would like to collect. Maybe you want to collect 100% of the booking or 50%. It's up to you to customize how much you would like to collect when the reservation has been made. And you can also then choose when the remaining balance should be collected. In this case, 5 days before check-in. You could say 1 day, you could say 30 days, you could say 15. It's pretty customizable. Now, under security deposit, damage deposit, you can also choose how much you would like to authorize and when you like to authorize it. So in this case, it's $300 or euro. It's use the property's currency, and it's 1 day before check-in. You could say a couple hours before check-in or 2 days before check-in. Typically, we recommend that you do 1 day, so there's enough time for the guest to enter the card or change card if there's any issue with the first credit card authorization. Now, notice that this is an authorization, it's not a charge. What this means is that it's going to put a hold on the guest's credit card or a block, but it's not going to charge it. So this saves you transaction fee that you pay to your payment processor. Now we've turned on payment schedule and security deposit for booking.com. I can go ahead and do the same thing for any other OTA or booking source and customize by booking source. And once you've done this, it will automatically follow this flow, and you don't have to do anything, and all the payments will be collected according to the due dates that you've set up. In case of payment failure, it will also notify the guest so they can update the payment information. The next step is the online check-in. And in the online check-in, you can set up your guest experience, so what your guest should be experiencing. Now you can say email the guest to complete pre-arrival. This is optional. You can also customize by booking source. Collect email and phone number from the guest. Collect arrival time and method. Collect passport or ID of the guest. Collect credit card scan. Collect selfie. Offer upsells. Collect digital signature. Collect acceptance of terms and conditions, and display guidebook on the guest portal. Now, as you can see, this is all customizable by booking source. So for example, if I want to collect a photo ID only for a specific source, I can simply click and choose a booking source I'd like to collect the ID for. So I don't have to, not every guest will be asked this information, but only those people who have specific booking source. Now, if I want to collect additional information on top of this, there's also an option for you to create custom questions. And here you can simply click add, and you have the option to ask any question you want. How many adults are coming? And then I can choose the answer type to be, say, a number. Now, I can also customize this question by booking source. So I could say this question should be only asked to people who book through this booking sources, or you can also customize it by property, so that this question should be asked only for people who are staying in these properties or in specific rooms of the properties. Now, when the answer is provided, you also have an option to map the response of the guest to your PMS. So when you collect number of adults, maybe you want to put that in the number of adults field in your property management software, so that data will be available in your system. Next is terms and conditions. Again, here you can upload terms and conditions for each property that you like. So it will be available for the guest when they accepting your own terms and conditions. And last step is the activating the property. So on this page, this is the property that's been imported from your system, and you can choose to activate all of them or one of them at a time until you're comfortable. Now I'm going to go to the bookings page. This is where you see all the bookings and what the status is for every booking. Now, in this case, we can see Rosetta in this case that the security deposit already been authorized for £300, and that 547 has also been collected. If I expand it here, I can see that on July 13, the 547 was paid, and the security deposit was authorized on July 13. Now, you can also see that it's going to be auto-released on July 20, but if I want to expedite the process, I can simply click here and click release. Now, let's say Rosetta has made some damage to the property. I can go ahead and click capture and say, I could say broken chair, and choose how much I'd like to collect from the deposit and click capture amount. If you want to give a refund for partial or full amount of the reservation for any reason, you can go ahead and refund the amount that you would like to collect as well, that you've collected. Now let's look at another example. We have Carly in here, or Carly, and you can see that the deposit is scheduled and the reservation amount is partially paid. If I expand this, we can see that 140 euros already been collected on July 12th, and the reservation balance 140, which I guess the balance of 50%, is scheduled for September 29, and secure deposit is scheduled October 3rd. So you have a clear overview of what is expected by the guest, and Carly will also be able to see this on her pre-check-in. If you would like to go ahead and capture the amount that's already scheduled, you can charge the amount now. You can change the amount, you can mark it as paid, or you can void the scheduled feature charge. Now, if you go to the next one here, and for example, Herman, we can see that 120 booking amount is overdue, and it says payment method not found. So in this case, what would have happened is a link was sent to the guest, and the guest has not completed the online check-in. You can simply click here, resend pre-check-in, and the guest will be able to get the pre-check-in link where they can complete the payment, which is overdue. In this case, is the 60 euro, and another 60 is scheduled for the future date, and as well as the security deposit. If the guest has completed the pre-check-in, you will see a green text with pre-check-in complete status as well. Now, when the guest is completing the pre-check-in, you probably want to offer some upsells. So we're going to go to manage upsells. Now, this is the section where you modify and edit what's available for the guest. Now we can see there's late checkout, early check-in, pet fee, rooftop bus tour, parking, breakfast, mandatory tourist tax. Now let's open up, for example, the early check-in. If I expand that, again, you can change the text if you want. You can put your own descriptions. As you can see, anytime you type here, it becomes available here for you, visible, so you have an idea of how it looks to the customer, the guest. You can want to change the title, also the same thing. Now notice there's a drop down here. and it says there is service charge 2%, and that's important that this is not refundable. Now this information is coming directly from this section here. The additional fee is 2%, and terms and conditions are all here. So any information that you put here will become available for the guest to look at, and they can simply select if they like to purchase the service. This could be per booking, per guest, per adult, and it could be one time, it could be daily. So you can create as many as you want and make it available for the guest. Now this upsell item that you're selling, you can customize for which property it's available for. So you can make it for all properties or specific properties that you want. You can also customize by booking source for which booking sources this should be available for. Now, if I show you another example of mandatory tourist tax, let me edit this. Now you can see that we've turned on mandatory. This means that the guest does not have an option to deselect it. They have to mandatorily pay this amount as it's required. Again, this is customizable by booking source or by property. And tourist tax, for example, it may be in some cities, it's collected by the length of stay. So in this case, it's per adult. For 1 to 8 nights, it's 2. And then from 9 to 30, it's 1, and then 31 and longer is 0. So once you've set this up yourself, based on the property rules or the city rules, it will automatically collect the amount required based on the length of stay of the booking. So this is very popular in places like Spain and Italy, where tourist tax is mandatory and it has to be collected. Now the last section is the guidebook. Now you can create as many guides as possible by clicking add new guides. You can give it a name, a title, you can give it an icon, and you can put in a text and images and select where that should be available for. Now this is going to be once you've done that, it's going to be available to the guest like this. This is a mobile friendly version web page. Now in this case, Thomas is a guest, and Thomas can expand the guides and see the arrival instruction, the Wi-Fi, and the garbage information. If I click on arrival, it will show me how to arrive. If I click on Wi-Fi, I can see the Wi-Fi code, and all that information is pretty much what I have added here. Now we've talked about payment collection if you're connected to the PMS. Now let's say you want to, a guest or somebody calls you and you'd like to collect the payment or authorization. We have an option for you to also manage payment requests individually. This is independent of any PMS. Now you can click create request, and you can choose if the charge amount or authorization. Authorization is like a hold or a block. This is useful if you want to just put a hold amount on the card. If it's a charge, you can put that here, and you can say hello@demo.com, let's say, and the amount I would like to collect is 350. You could choose a currency that you like, and you can put the description, initial booking deposit. And now if I expand this more setting option, you have an option to schedule the payment date for a future date. You also have an option to select the expiry date of the link. So when you send to the guest, if they don't pay by a certain date, the link expires. And the next important option is chargeback protection. Now, chargeback protection is a free service that we offer, and it allows you to protect the transaction from fraudulent disputes. So if you have turned this on, then it's guaranteed that you will never get a chargeback for fraud on the card, because the card goes through an authentication process. So I would always advise that you keep the chargeback protection on at all times. Now again, the scheduled date you might not use typically with the charge, but with authorization, you can choose, for example, if the guest is checking in on the 28th, you can schedule the authorization maybe to take place on the 27th. And this allows the guest will be able to add the card when they receive the link, and the payment will be will be authorized on the due date. Now, if I go ahead and click send payment request, it's been sent. Now let's copy and paste it. Now you can see that there's a 350 that's due on the 27th of July, and there's a note, and the guest can simply add the card information and make a payment. So it's that simple. That concludes the end of our demo. If you have any questions, you can always contact us through our chat that's on the bottom right corner of the page, or you can also send an email to support@chargeautomation.com. Again, that's support@chargeautomation.com. Thank you for watching.